Picture a competition where the limits of human potential are pushed every year, yet the rules seem to favor only one type of contender. On the bright stage of the Mr. Olympia Classic Physique, bodies sculpted with near-divine precision compete for a title that embodies the pinnacle of aesthetic perfection. But behind the flawless poses and meticulously crafted physiques lies a quiet controversy dividing opinions. The almost insurmountable advantage tall competitors hold over shorter ones, shaped by a rulebook that, instead of leveling the playing field, seems to tip the scales in one direction. The classic physique category of Mr. Olympia is more than just a competition. It's a tribute to the golden era of bodybuilding. It embodies a time when symmetry, aesthetics, and proportion reigned supreme over sheer size. Established in 2016, this category quickly became a centerpiece of the bodybuilding world, showcasing athletes who blend the timeless beauty of classic physiques with the grit and discipline of the modern era. But behind the dazzling lights and perfectly sculpted bodies lies a reality few acknowledge. The controversy surrounding the height-to-weight ratio rules that seem to favor taller athletes while placing shorter competitors at a disadvantage. Classic physique is all about balance. Competitors aren't judged solely on the size of their muscles or the sharpness of their definition. Instead, the focus is on harmony, how well different muscle groups work together to create a silhouette reminiscent of legends like Frank Zane and Arnold Schwarzenegger. This pursuit of perfection, however, comes with constraints. The category enforces a height-to-weight cap, a rule that appears fair on the surface, but has created significant challenges for shorter athletes. Taller athletes enter the competition with a built-in advantage. Their larger frames allow them to distribute additional weight across their physique, amplifying both the width and fullness of their muscles. This gives them a commanding stage presence that draws the judges' and audience's eyes. Athletes like Chris Bumstead, standing at 6 feet 1 inch and allowed to compete at up to 230 pounds, have enough room to fill out their taller frames with an expansive and visually striking physique. When Bumstead steps on stage, his mere presence commands attention. His muscles are abundant but never excessive, making him the epitome of what the classic physique category strives to showcase. However, the same rules that give tall athletes room to shine become an obstacle for their shorter counterparts. These competitors face a dual challenge: building bodies that look imposing while remaining within strict weight limits. For example, an athlete standing 5 feet 6 inches is restricted to a maximum weight of 175 pounds. This creates a dilemma. To hit the upper weight limit, they must meticulously craft every detail of their physique, yet they often lack the stage dominance of taller competitors, whose broader frames naturally make them appear more three-dimensional and imposing. The sense of unfairness becomes stark when the stage lights hit. Height is not just a number. It defines how a competitor's physique is perceived. A shorter athlete, even with flawless symmetry and proportion, often struggles to create the same visual impact as a taller one. Shoulder width, lat spread, and leg projection all seem more impressive in taller athletes, even when the overall muscle volume might be comparable. This dynamic is evident in the competition results. Over the past 6 years, Chris Bumstead has maintained an unbroken winning streak in the classic physique category. While his dominance is undeniable, it raises critical questions. Would his reign be as absolute if the rules were different? Could shorter competitors, if allowed more weight to compensate for their stature, challenge his supremacy? These questions resonate in the backstage corridors of bodybuilding, where athletes and coaches constantly debate the nuances of the rules and their impact on the competitive field. To better understand this disparity, consider a practical analogy. Imagine a Formula One race where cars with smaller engines are capped at a lower horsepower, while those with larger engines are allowed to maximize their power output. The imbalance would be obvious, with smaller cars standing little chance against their more powerful counterparts. On the classic physique stage, human physiques replace engines, but the principle remains the same. Shorter athletes are restricted not only by their natural height, but also by weight limits, while taller athletes enjoy the advantage of filling out their frames with more muscle mass. For many, the solution seems straightforward: adjust the rules. Allow shorter athletes to compete with higher weight limits, and impose stricter weight caps on taller competitors to create a more level playing field. The goal isn't to disadvantage taller athletes, but to ensure fairness, where the competition truly celebrates aesthetics and symmetry rather than structural advantages. This discussion grows louder each year as fans and athletes alike look to the future of the category. Classic Physique has the potential to remain one of the most exciting divisions in Mr. Olympia, but it must address these concerns to maintain its integrity. The beauty of the competition lies in the diversity of physiques on display, and revising the rules could usher in a new era of innovation and rivalry. The classic physique stage should not only celebrate classic aesthetics, but also provide a platform where all competitors, regardless of height, can compete on equal terms. The story of this category is still unfolding, and it's up to the organizers of Mr. Olympia and the athletes themselves to ensure that it remains a fair and vibrant part of bodybuilding history. Every year, the lights come on, the poses are struck, and the trophies are awarded. But the true measure of a competition lies not only in who wins, but in how everyone is given a fair chance to fight for victory. Chris Bumstead is more than just a name. He's a phenomenon. For 6 consecutive years, the Canadian has ruled the classic physique category of Mr. Olympia, lifting the trophy as if it were an extension of his perfectly sculpted body. His physique is a masterpiece, a blend of raw power and classic symmetry that looks like it was carved from marble during the Renaissance. Yet, while Bumstead has solidified his place as an icon, his dominance has sparked an ongoing debate about the category's rules, and how they seemingly favor athletes with certain physical traits over others. Since claiming the title in 2017, Bumstead has become the benchmark against which all other competitors are measured. He's not just tall, he has an undeniable stage presence. At 6 feet 1 inch and allowed to compete at a weight of up to 230 pounds, he fills out his frame so flawlessly that every pose radiates grandeur. His wide shoulders, expansive back, and perfectly balanced proportions make him nearly untouchable on stage. But for many, the question isn't about his skill or dedication, which are beyond doubt, but rather if the rules of the category have created conditions that give him a natural edge over shorter rivals. Backstage, the tension is palpable. Athletes competing against Bumstead acknowledge his brilliance, but can't help but wonder if they could achieve the same level of impact if allowed to carry more weight. Breon Ansley, one of Bumstead's fiercest rivals in the early years of his reign, is a prime example of how height influences results. At 5 feet 7 inches, Ansley competes with a significantly lower weight cap, limiting the muscle mass he can display. Despite his incredible definition and flawless proportions, he often looks less imposing standing next to Bumstead, whose larger frame naturally amplifies every detail of his physique. Every year, the story feels like déjà vu. Bumstead steps onto the stage with the confidence of a champion and delivers a performance that leaves no room for doubt. His signature pose, the rear lat spread, is a showstopper. When he turns and flexes his back, it feels like the entire stage shrinks around him. The crowd roars, the judges take note, and the outcome seems inevitable. But as he dominates, shorter competitors continue to fight against limitations that are not just physical but regulatory. This disparity is especially glaring when examining the podium finishes during Bumstead's 6-year reign. Taller athletes often take the top spots, while shorter competitors struggle to achieve the same level of visual impact. In 2019, for instance, Ansley placed second, but the visual difference between him and Bumstead was striking. Despite Ansley's physique being in perfect harmony, he couldn't match Bumstead's commanding presence on stage. By 2020, new challengers emerged, but they faced the same uphill battle. Fans aren't silent about this either. Many question whether the classic physique category, meant to celebrate a variety of body types, is becoming a stage dominated by one specific kind of athlete. Social media buzzes with debates on how to level the playing field. Some suggest revising the weight caps to allow shorter athletes more room to add muscle mass. Others argue for judging criteria that emphasize proportion and definition more than stage presence alone. Chris Bumstead, for his part, focuses on his craft. He's not responsible for the rules, but he undeniably benefits from them. His work ethic is unmatched. He trains with relentless discipline, fine-tunes his diet with precision, and approaches every competition like it's his first. His fans love him not only for his victories, but for his humility and authenticity. He's a champion both on and off the stage. Even so, he acknowledges that the conversation about the rules is valid and necessary for the future of the category. Looking ahead, many hope classic physique will evolve to better reflect the diversity of its competitors. Adjusting the rules to create a fairer balance isn't a criticism of Bumstead or any other champion, but rather a way to ensure that everyone has a real shot at competing on equal terms. After all, bodybuilding has always been about overcoming challenges, not just about winning. Meanwhile, Bumstead's legacy continues to grow. He's not just an athlete, he's a force shaping the category and inspiring a new generation of bodybuilders. Every victory he claims is a testament to the pursuit of perfection, but also a reminder that bodybuilding, like any sport, is constantly evolving. The rules may change, the champions may change, but the passion to be the best version of oneself is what truly defines classic physique and Mr. Olympia. This story is still being written, and every competitor who steps onto that stage brings with them the dream of defying the odds and redefining what's possible. Perhaps in the near future, we'll see a stage where height and weight are just numbers, and the true measure of success lies in the impact of the physique on those who witness it. Until then, Bumstead's reign remains a symbol of excellence and the catalyst for one of the most important discussions in modern bodybuilding.